Hi everyone, welcome to this unboxing video of Crucial Crüe, the studio album's 1981-1989 vinyl version released by BMG in 2023 and limited to 7,500 copies. Each album comes with a printed inner sleeve and a 180 reng splatter vinyl in remastered version. These are the original albums without any bonus tracks, unlike the previous remaster CD. The box is very classic, made of a soft touch material, with just a sticker indicating the number of platinum records for the first 5 albums of the band. Inside, the records are arranged in order of release, starting with Too Fast for Love, released in 1981. The initial version of the album was self-produced by the band before signing with Elektra and being re-recorded and remixed in a slightly different version. An album already in the glam metal genre but infused with punk energy and a garage spirit, which still gives it undeniable charm today and doesn't have many equivalents. Too Fast for Love is, above all, a rock record that is part of a larger narrative. This is evident first in the homage to the Rolling Stones' Sticky Fingers on the cover. However, when you flip the cover, it's an atmosphere of leather and with looks full of confidence, with 4 guys ready to deliver a glam punk metal gem. Livewire opens the proceedings with a catchy, basic and heavily saturated riff, a snarling and almost defiant vocals. The whole album talks about personal wounds and becomes an outlet filled with rage and fury, recorded in a few days of booze and excess. Often imitated but never equaled, this debut album will remain unique in Mötley Crüe's discography for its urgency, sincerity, and youthful excesses. For this album, BMG chose to match the vinyl with the colors of the cover, and the result is magnificent. Next is Shout at the Devil, released in 1983. The band gained confidence and this album is much more polished and calibrated. While it retains some glam residues, Shout at the Devil is primarily a great heavy metal record, arguably one of the best of the 80s and a favorite of many fans, solidifying the band's notoriety. This album has a unique alchemy between Mick Mars' sharp riffs and solos, the meticulous work of the rhythm section by Nikki Sixx and Tommy Lee, and the distinctive yet essential voice of Vince Neil. It's such a success that it's quite difficult to single out one track, but I'll mention Danger, which closes the album and somewhat recalls the tone and spirit of the first album. It's unfortunate they chose yellow, for the color red would have been more appropriate. In 1985, Theater of Pain is released, recorded in the aftermath of a rather bleak period. Mick Mars attempted suicide. Vince Neil awaited trial for a fatal car accident, and both Nikki Sixx and Tommy Lee were increasingly addicted to drugs. The result is a dull and uninspired album, oscillating between glam and heavy metal, attempting unsuccessfully to replicate the formulas of the first 2 albums. Only 2 tracks, Smokin' in the Boys' Room and the ballad Home Sweet Home, will achieve the success of an album that, despite its shortcomings, sells very well. In 1987, Mötley Crüe's 4th album hits the shelves, more aggressive and heavier than its predecessor, at least on some tracks like Wild Side, which opens the album with its colossal riff and prominently featured drums. The album also explores the rock and roll side on Girls, 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 All in the Name of, and on Dancin' on Glass, which is ultra groovy with a touch of Aerosmith from the 70s, or even Jailhouse Rock, one of their weakest covers. Rodeo would have been much better to conclude the album. The rest of the album is somewhat less successful, except for the sublime You're All I Need, despite its very disturbing theme. The last album in the box, and some would say the last true Mötley Crüe album, Dr. Feelgood sees a sober band, rid of its demons, and to be honest, more mature, returning to a beautifully produced heavy glam metal sound by Bob Rock. This album will be a huge critical and commercial success and the band's best-selling album containing classics like Dr. Feelgood, Kickstart My Heart, or Without You. Personally, I'm not a big fan of this album. I find it lacks unity and personality, especially the Mötley Crüe sound from the first two albums. It resembles the production of the 89-93 era, not worse than any other, but most of the tracks could have been on an Aerosmith, Skid Row, or Danger Danger album. It's not until Don't Go Away Mad that we find the spirit and sound of the band again. In conclusion, an excellent box set for anyone looking to discover the band. It's a shame they had the whimsical idea of artificially aging the covers with marks and little stains. If I had to make a mini ranking, I'd put Dr. Feelgood at 5, Theater of Pain at 4, Girls, Girls, Girls at 3, and it's hard to differentiate between the top two. Shout at the Devil is probably better musically, but I'd put Too Fast for Love first for its authenticity, its small flaws production, and for containing gems like Merry Go Round, Starry Eyes, or On With the Show.